A very big welcome to you, my dear Gemini. Now, today is the day where you can plant a seed because the sun and the moon are in your sign. And so this is the new moon. And in the new moon, we dive deep down. It's not about the full moon. The full moon is in the sign Sagittarius. That's your opposite sign. That's when you get the light from the sun to the full moon in your sign in Gemini, right? And so here you are able to go deep to look where you're holding on to the things that maybe not allowing you to let shine your true self. And this is what's coming up here, right? So when we understand what's happening up in the sky, right, we're not just being pushed around anymore. We are actually taking action. We are actually seeing, oh wow, I can actually create my own destiny. And so we're going to, of course, look at that. We're also going to look at Mercury, because Mercury is ruling you, and Mercury is the magician. And the magician uses the language, the abracadabra, right? And uses as such also, of course, the mind. And we're going to look at Saturn, because Saturn has moved into Aries. And this is a very powerful moment to understand that Saturn, the planet of borders and lessons, is now in Aries, and Aries is the spiritual fighter. Aries is the brain. Aries is the meditation. So we're going to look at that. We're going to, of course, look then at the Knight of Swords. And what's important for you now to understand is that I always gave you the dates of the court cards, and they are different than the dates that the soul aspect or the sun is, of course, in each sign. And so if you're born between the 10th of May and the 20th of May, you're the Knight of Swords, but your major arcana is the Hierophant, right? And this reading I did in the reading before in Taurus. Now, if your birthday is between the 21st of May and the 9th of June, then you're the Knight of Swords and have here the Lovers as the major arcana. And so you are there, the pure, I call it pure, but the clear Gemini, right, from the soul and from the human aspect. So just understand that. And then, of course, I'm also going to look at the Queen of Cups, because the Queen of Cups has then Gemini above it, right? And that's from the 10th of June to the 21st of June. So if your birthday is right in between there, then you have as the soul aspect the Lovers, but you already as a court card are the Queen of Cups. So I hope you understand what I'm doing here, right? It's a little different than I used to just give you the dates, right? And you had to figure out yourself. And I feel like I want to include now the differences into the reading. It just makes it more, I don't know, whole, maybe. It makes it more clear to what is really the shift here, right? That there are different types of people in the way they are act out of the soul or in the way they act out of the physical body. Now, back to the last reading where we had Taurus Sun giving Gemini Moon the light. Take your passion to the next level. And it really talks to me, right? Because what I'm doing right now with including the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Cups under the umbrella of here the Lovers is taking your passion to the next level. That's what it takes, right? To look and to be like, so why is it that there is this difference, right, in the court cards and of course in the major arcana? And so I do not stop, right? And so now I'm finally ready to actually create readings that are quite specific and quite clear. And this is your last reading to the left. After this reading, we're going to go to the right. So I looked if there is a reoccurring card, and there is not. Right? Just going to check here. No, there is not a reoccurring card, and so we can begin the reading. Good. So we talk about the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords, the third zodiac sign, is connected with the third house of communication and interaction, and you get the Five of Swords, which is Venus in Aquarius. And so as you can see, here comes a moment of like something doesn't feel right. And what's really interesting is because I do also the German reading, the same card at the same position came up. So I have an English and a German deck, and you will see it because a card came up a second time and I had to use the German deck. You see that even though I'm reading this reading a few hours later, it was really like confirming to me that no matter what, right, the readings are connected to Gemini here. And so the 5 and the 3s, the 8 have this strength, right, to incorporate this type of thinking, this kind of quarrel, this kind of, well, you know, I want to be right. And Venus in Aquarius is that kind of moment where we maybe need to think about, do I have to be always right? Right? Is that important? And so the 8 is talking here, have that strength to observe that. Then comes from the Mother Piece Thrower, the Shaman of Cups to the left. And the Shaman of Cups is pointing over to the 5 of Swords, right? And so we had an 8 here, and now comes the 8th zodiac sign. And he, as a shaman, is the one that goes deep into the subconscious, because he's kind of like the one that works with the underworld. He goes deep into the ocean. And of course, Scorpio is the aspect of us that understands there's a deep longing for wholeness. And so the 8-8 is talking here. What is Scorpio saying? Scorpio is saying the sun. You also have the sun. So I feel like this has to do with the new moon. The new moon is bringing you look deeper, but then also you get the sun, and the sun is also in your sign. Remember, you go deep, you go into the new moon, you go into the black, you go into the dark. You are maybe holding on to things that you don't need to hold on to, but you also have the sun, right? And it's the sun that is holding on to the dark, which is really interesting in this deck, right? And so we have an 8-8 portal, and here the 19 turns into a 10. A new cycle will begin after this reading, and you hopefully will come out of it for whatever it is that you feel here as the mental unhappiness, or also that moment where you maybe like testing yourself, or you are tested, right? Maybe by a Scorpio you're tested, right? And remember always that the sun is actually coming after such moments back to us. And of course, if I just calculate now the 5 and the 8, that's the 13, and the 13 is the death from Scorpio, is the transformation. That when we look deeper at this, at what is the crow telling me, right? And 4 are flying off, what is going on and what's really bothering me here. Then the Queen of Cups, remember, she has here also the major arcana, the Lovers, as a soul aspect. You are getting the 8 of Pentacles, which is the Sun in Virgo. And so you can see here is an equilibrium that is coming to her, right? And we see she's the 4th zodiac sign, and as such she's the 4th house of family and home. And the 8 and the 4 is the 12, and the 12 is either all 12 zodiac signs, or 12 is also Pisces, or the 12 can be the Hanged Man, which is Neptune, and Neptune has moved into Aries. And so we're not dreaming about it anymore, right? We are really taking action. And out of the 12, I can make a 3, and the 3 is the Empress. And so you're working on the healing, you're working on yourself, and you're coming into an equilibrium. What is coming from the mother piece story? You get the 5 of Wands, which is Saturn in Leo, upright. And Saturn, we know, is also in Aries. So Neptune and Saturn in Aries is shifting Aries, right? And Aries is the fighter. Aries is the one that is actually bringing us the empowerment to say, well, now I'm going to take action, right? And Saturn here in Leo take actions where it's playful. It's not like serious. It is serious, but it can also be playful. We're testing ourselves. The 5s are always tests. And so the 5 of Swords, right, remember, is a test. And here comes now the 5 of Wands, which is Saturn in Leo. And so the 3 that is left and the 5 here is also an 8. So you already have 3 times the 8. And 3 times the 8 is like, feel the empowerment that is happening in your Earth star, right? The 8 that is hovering above the 7, right? The crown chakra, the Earth star is here. And so play with that. Work and play with it, because this means you planted the seed. Now you need to let the seed grow for the healing to appear, right? Okay, then we look at Mercury, and Mercury, from the Magician we get the Medicine Wheel, the number 35. And this is a very beautiful card because it shows the north, the east, the south, and the west. And we understand that here Alberto Villoldo created the animals, right? And so we have the snake, the jaguar, the hummingbird, and the eagle. And the eagle is looking at the Magician, right? Because we're placing the cards to the left, which is always to the new moon. And when we go to the right, it's always going to the full moon. And so if I had placed it here, it's a different story. But I place it here because we go to the new moon, and today is the new moon. You see that the eagle is looking at the Magician. What are you doing? And he is the one that plays with the 4 elements. He is the 5th element. And so here, the 35, we have the 5 here, but we also have the 3, the Empress, right? And the Empress has come up to understand that you are entering in a magic way the medicine wheel. What is coming from your deck? The Fool. And so you let yourself drop into this wheel. You see here the flower of life, and you're falling into the medicine wheel because she's falling backwards. If it had been here, right, it's again another story. She falls out of the medicine wheel, but you are trusting that Uranus is bringing that. And guess what? Uranus is going to be in June in your sign. And so this is actually saying, yes, you are going to feel that, and you're going to really become very, very spiritual on a level that you have never thought of it before. And so what is Uranus bringing? What is the Fool bringing? Because the Fool is that foolish idea. And it's actually one of the oldest decks that I gave to Uranus. It's the Visconti Sforza Tarot, and it's the High Priestess. And this High Priestess is something very special because she's a woman, and she put herself at the place of the Pope, and we just have a new Pope elected. And so she's literally saying, yes, dare to dream that there can be a Papess. Dare to dream that she can fall into the medicine wheel, and that you are creating here the 8, and the 1 is a 9. The 9, and here the 20 is the 29, and the 11 is as a portal left. Understand the message here. So dare to become this woman that is letting herself fall into the medicine wheel, and then the eagle sees up there the potential of the one, of Mercury, the ruler, right? And you see that this is such a powerful message. I mean, it's sometimes I'm really like, oh my God, this is really amazing, right? And she has a yellow, and now she's a little bit more younger, and she's like, yes, I'm gonna let myself fall into the medicine wheel, into the 8, and look what's on his hoodie, the 8, right? So it's like, I mean, clearer it doesn't get, right? And so see how powerful this is, right? Because it's literally saying, yes, you are ready, you are really ready, because you are letting yourself fall into the medicine wheel, and you are dreaming of being a papess. And the most amazing thing is about this Pope is that he, with 5 years old already, was being a priest and a Pope, and his brothers were like, what is he doing, right? We're playing with cars, and he was playing with the church, right? Okay, the new moon. The new moon, now this diving deep down into the dark, is bringing you the lay of the land, the number 34. And we see in the 34 the 7, which is the crown chakra. Here we have the 18, which is then a 9, the completion. The 9 and the 7 is the 16, and the 16 is Mars. And Mars is always that moment where we awaken to the understanding that a fight over whatever that fight can be, right? But fighting over something just to disagree or just to be right is not really helping us to evolve, right? And so here the lay of the land is saying, well, mark your land, but don't fight over it. And this is what people do right now. A war is fighting over land, over resources. And the 16 then turns into the 7. The 7 is left. Stand on this mountain, see the lay of the land, but do not fight over it. But you get the 7 of Swords, which is the moon in Aquarius. And so you see that he's also again going towards this card. It's the 7, the 7, a 7-7 portal, and you are getting 5 of Swords, so you have 12 swords. And the 12, again, I said, is the Neptune in Aries, and Aries is the fighter, is the 16, is Mars, is the tower. And so you see, right, it's like, oh my God, the 12 turns then into a 3, right? When we go down to the 3, we're becoming the Empress, who knows that this fight, maybe it's not such a good fight, because here you're fighting over the fact that you think you have inner doubts, you are a victim, you're not good enough to own land. Maybe you need to take land away. And so this is the story that goes, that we maybe need to awaken. And so there's a 7-7 portal, and that is letting you know that the 7 is the crown chakra, that the 7 is the moment where you, when you dive deep down into your subconscious, that's where you want to clear and clean up what's going on in your feelings of the subconscious. The sun also in your sign, right? So you have the dark and the light in your sign, and you get the west, the number 4. Now here with the medicine wheel, we have the north, the east, the south, and the west. And the west is always that moment where we think we go deep down into the subconscious, and that's what the shaman does. Pluto ruled, right? And Pluto is now in Aquarius, and Aquarius has come up through the 7 of Swords. Moon in Aquarius, but also Venus in Aquarius, right? So the 12 swords here are letting you know, hey, maybe you need to look at what you're thinking, right? And that is for the Knight of Swords more accurate, right? Because he is tormented by the mind. And so the 4 is the last puzzle piece, that when the sun goes down, it's going down into the underworld and things are now off or gone, right? It's like something makes sense now all of a sudden. And so the 19 turns into the 10, and the 10 and the 4 is the 14. That's temperance, and temperance, of course, then turns into a 5. And then we have a 5-5 portal here with the 5 of Wands, which is Saturn in Leo. And Saturn, right, we're going to look at it. What it's going to say is, of course, in Aries. And so you see that the 5 is talking here. What is coming from your deck? Because the sun is in your sign, you are getting the Lovers. And now, just that you see that I have 2 decks, right? We see that I have the German and the English deck. And so understand that you have come up, right? You're not as a station, because the stations I pull after. I first pull the cards, and then I pick the stations cards, right? And you see that you have come up. And so love conquers everything. The 5 and the 6 is the 11. Again, a portal is here to help you to see the light, to help you to overcome whatever it is, because the sun has come up under Scorpio, right? The shaman of cups. And the shaman is strong. The shaman is the one that sees in the underworld, sees in the subconscious, that when you dive down in this new moon, that you are learning something, that you are seeing something where you're holding on to, right? And that holding on to can be liberated through the 11. And the 11, then you can see here with the sun, it's like here you stand and you can be the light and you can be happy. And you know that, of course, here this is quite powerful, because you see how the eagle is looking out and sees what is needed to be seen, right? And here we have the jaguar, and here we have the snake, and we have the hummingbird, right? And so the sun, when it sets, is that moment where we recognize, okay, things have ended, but there is always then a new beginning. And now the world, Saturn, right? 21. What is Saturn bringing? Saturn is bringing you the 3 of Pentacles, Mars in Capricorn. And Capricorn is always connected with work, with career, with money. And when we want to build something, we need to connect with other people. And so the 21 plus the 3 is the 24. And the 24 turns into the 6, and the 6, of course, that's you, the Lovers, right? But I can also create here a 3 out of the 21. Then we have a 3-3 portal. And the 3-3 with the 3rd zodiac sign, right, is the 33 is the mastery, right, in the sacred priesthoods, and the mastery that we gain when we understand that the 3 is the Empress and the 4 is the Emperor, and together they create the crown chakra, right? That the 4 is always the heart chakra, and that the 4 is here at the heart of the Queen of Cups. And so understand, right, here I have the Queen of Cups from your deck, right, from the Gemini deck. And so you see how she's opening her arms, and she's like literally opening herself to the healing. So a 33. Now, what is coming from Aries? Aries is bringing you the 5 of Swords again. And so here you have the 5 of Swords, and here you have the 5 of Swords. And it's the same, right? There's a person, and here are 2 people, and here are the swords, and he sits here, and he's just like, what have I done? Why was I fighting? Over what was I fighting? Is it necessary? So the 5, right, again, is the test, and you need to go through this test. And every test is gonna make you a little bit more awake, because altogether you have 5, 5, and 7 swords. That's 17 swords. That's Aquarius, right? And Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And Uranus is the one that is falling into the medicine wheel, right? And what's behind her? The Papess. And so this is really a strong message that you, whatever it is you want to build, you cannot get stopped by quarreling or by little discussions. You have a goal and you go and get it. You let yourself drop into the world, into this combination, into this 6, right? Then it's a 60 with the 0. And you understand that something is really talking, something is really saying, yes, we can be ruling the matriarch, right? The patriarch is the toxic aspect of the male, and they always like to control us. And always remember the 6, that's the lovers, and in there you are awakening to become someone that is just shining a light onto all the people, right? No matter where you are standing, even if the sun goes down, you know the sun goes up again, and you get up, and that fight, you get up and you apologize and you just say, hey, I'm really sorry, I was a little bit carried away, right? I was mean, but I also understand that sometimes I feel that I'm the victim. Sometimes I feel like that I'm not good enough, right? And I need to say it because maybe you fought over land, maybe you had this quarrel, and you understand that having the strength to become strong is important. Having that strength is giving you the incentive to know that Saturn in Aries is sometimes then the 3 and the 5 is an 8 as well. Have the strength to overcome whatever it is that Saturn in Aries is bringing. This is the message right now, right? So there's a lot of fighting going on out there over projects that are big and everybody wants to get something from it. And are you now going into this, or are you staying in this? That's the question. And here comes, of course, then the answer, which is the 7, right? Lay the land, but don't own it. And understand that the 7 is awakening the crown chakra and become that spiritual messenger that knows that he's connected through the medicine wheel. Wow, beautiful. I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the sun in Cancer. And of course, Cancer is here through the Queen of Cups, right? This is the deck from Aleister Crowley, right? Thoth Tarot. And so I wish you a beautiful new moon ceremony, right? Plant a seed and know that the seed is growing then into the full moon, which you get in 6 months when you're going to the right. And you see that the puzzle piece is now being planted, and so you will see it grow, you will see it evolve with lots of love. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.